o'clock, and we'll begin a meeting of the Douglas County Commission for the purpose of a general election canvass. I want to welcome everybody watching at home and our commissioners for joining us. We are doing this online for probably the first time ever, so bear with us if we have any technical difficulties. And with that, I'll turn it over to our county clerk, Jamie Shue. Jamie?
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I emailed you earlier the documents we'll be using, and then I'll go to share screen so that people watching can follow this. Before we get started, I always say there were no manifest errors that were found. There are over 60,000 voters that participated in this election, which that is the largest election we've ever had. The most was 2008 with 54,500. To give you kind of an overview of just how big this election was as far as turnout, we're over 70% turnout, which is a first time for Douglas County. But there are no manifest errors, and also we don't really have any close races. The closest race we probably have is in Grant Township. It's 9 votes. There are only just a couple provisionals in Grant Township, so I don't anticipate the provisionals having an impact on that race. We will start out with the polling place canvas once I figure out sharing my screen. Just a second.
Jamie?
Yes.
I'm sorry, did you say that you emailed out some documents?
Yes.
I don't know what happened, but I don't have it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's something I need or if you're just going to show it all on your screen.
I'm just going to show it. I didn't know if you'd want it to print out, you know, to mark on or anything.
Okay.
We'll have a paper copy for you to sign after this, like you normally do.
Okay, thank you.
No. Okay, can you see that? The canvas sheet?
Yeah, you might want to blow it up just a little bit, Jamie.
What? Okay, hold on, we're working on that. Is that better?
That's better for me, commissioners.
That's fine for me.
Okay. All right. This just seems different for me. Usually we're around a table and we're kind of going through this, so I'll get started. So precinct 1, we had 118 ballots to the scanner with 16 provisionals, 134 voters with 134 signatures. Precincts 2, 3, and 7, 295 ballots to the scanner with 47 provisionals, 294 e-poll book, 1 paper poll book with 47 provisional signatures, 342 signatures. Precincts 4, 5, and 42, 523 ballots through the scanner, 44 provisionals, 523 signatures, 44 provisional signatures for 567 voters. Precinct 11, 166 ballots through the scanner, 14 provisionals, 166 signatures, 14 provisional signatures for 180 voters. Precincts 12, 23, and 24, 479 ballots to the scanner with 33 provisionals, 479 signatures, 33 provisional signatures for 512 voters. Precincts 6 and 13, 287 ballots to the scanner with 19 provisionals, 286 e-poll book signatures, 1 paper poll book signature, 19 provisional signatures for 306 voters. Precincts 14 and 17, 605 ballots through the scanner, 53 provisionals, 605 e-poll book with 53 provisional signatures. Precincts 15, 9, and 21, 348 ballots through the scanner, 41 provisionals, 348 signatures, 41 provisional signatures for 389 total voters. Precinct 10, oh, what did I do? Oh, there it is. I was making check marks that evidently moved the screen. Precinct 10, 111 ballots through the scanner, 25 provisionals, 111 e-poll book, 25 provisional signatures for 136 voters. Precinct 16 and 46, 502 ballots through the scanner, 71 provisionals, 502 e-poll book, 71 provisional signatures for 573. At the last canvass, Commissioner DeRusso asked why there were so many provisionals for that event center. It is right behind Hy-Vee. We had a number of voters who evidently were leaving the grocery store. This happened in this election too, and just decided to vote there. Precincts 18 and 48, 466 ballots to the scanner, 26 provisionals, 464 e-poll book, 2 paper poll book, 26 provisional signatures for 492 voters. Precincts 19 and 47, 239 ballots to the scanner, 17 provisionals, 239 signatures, 17 provisional signatures for 256 total voters. Precincts 20 and 71, 545 ballots to the scanner, 29 provisionals, 545 e-poll book, 29 provisional signatures, 575 voters. Precincts 22 and 76, 275 ballots to the scanner, 31 provisionals, 275 signatures, 31 provisional signatures for 306 total signatures. Precincts 25 and 26, 237 ballots to the scanner, 39 provisionals, 237 e-poll book signatures, 39 provisional signatures, 276 voters. Precincts 32 and 30.2, 300 ballots to the scanner, 39 provisionals, 300 signatures, 39 provisional signatures for 339 total voters. Precinct 29, 148 ballots to the scanner with 17 provisionals, 148 signatures, 17 provisional signatures, 165 voters. Precinct 31, 228 ballots to the scanner with 19 provisionals, 228 e-poll book signatures, 19 provisional signatures for 247 voters. Precincts 27, 28, and 31, 255 ballots to the scanner with 25 provisionals, 254 e-poll book, 1 paper poll book, 25 provisional signatures for 280 voters. Precinct 33, 100 voters, 10 provisionals, 99 e-poll book, 1 paper poll book, 10 provisional signatures for 110 voters. Precinct 34, 100 ballots to the scanner, 7 provisionals, 100 e-poll book, 7 provisional signatures, 407 total voters. Precinct 35, 191 ballots to the scanner with 18 provisionals, 191 e-poll book, 18 provisional for 209 voters. Precinct 36, 37, 38, and 77, 621 ballots to the scanner with 75 provisionals, 621 total signatures, 75 provisional signatures with 696 voters. Precinct 39, 181 ballots to the scanner, 12 provisionals, 181 signatures, 12 provisional signatures for 193 voters. Precincts 8 and 40, 257 ballots to the scanner, 49 provisionals, 257 e-poll book, 49 provisional for 306 voters. Precinct 41, 347 ballots to the scanner, 28 provisionals, 347 signatures, 28 provisional signatures for 375 total signatures, voters. Precincts 43 and 70, 325 ballots for the scanner, 31 provisionals, 325 signatures, 31 provisional signatures for 356 total voters. Precincts 44 and 64, 268 ballots for the scanner, 9 provisionals, 268 signatures, 9 provisional signatures, 277 total voters. Precinct 45 and 49, 486 ballots for the scanner, 31 provisionals, 486 signatures, 31 provisional signatures for 517 voters. Precincts 50 and 54, 242 ballots through the scanner, 36 provisionals, 206 poll book signatures, poll book signatures, 34 paper poll book signatures, 36 provisional signatures. 2 provisional ballots were placed in the scanner. They were both change of address and would have counted. Precinct 51, 211 ballots to the scanner with 10 provisionals, 209 e-poll book signatures, 1 paper poll book, 10 provisional signatures. They also had 1 provisional ballot that was placed in the scanner. It would have been also recommended to count. Precinct 52, 211 ballots to the scanner, 22 provisionals, 211 e-poll book signatures, 20 provisional signatures for 233 voters. Precinct 53, 444 ballots through the scanner with 16 provisionals, 444 signatures, 16 provisional signatures for 460 total signatures. Precinct 55, 82 ballots to the scanner with 5 provisionals, 82 e-poll book signatures, 5 provisional signatures for 87 voters. Precinct 56, 369 ballots to the scanner with 24 provisionals, 368 e-poll book, 1 paper poll book, 24 provisionals for 393 voters. Precincts 57 and 58, 380 ballots through the scanner, 22 provisionals, 373 e-poll book, 7 paper poll book, 22 provisional for 402 total voters. Precinct 59, 279 ballots for the scanner, 5 provisionals, 279 e-poll book. There are no signatures in the provisional poll book. We did verify that they had 5 provisional voters. Precinct 60 and 62, 674 ballots for the scanner, 50 provisionals, 672 e-poll book, 2 paper poll book, 50 provisionals for 724 voters. Precinct 61, 464 ballots for the scanner, 30 provisionals, 464 e-poll book, 30 provisional signatures for 494 total signatures. Precinct 63, 330 ballots for the scanner with 9 provisionals, 330 poll book, 9 provisional for 339 total voters. Precinct 65 and 66, 362 ballots for the scanner with 15 provisionals, 362 signatures, 15 provisional signatures for 377 total signatures. Precinct 67, 371 ballots for the scanner with 11 provisionals, 300 e-poll book and 71 paper poll book signatures, 11 provisional signatures for 382 voters. Precinct 74, 421 ballots for the scanner with 32 provisionals, 421 e-poll book, 32 provisional for 573 total signatures. Are there any questions on that portion?
Not from me.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't have any
No, I
questions,
don't have any
Jamie.
questions.
I don't have any.
A little over 14,000 ballots that were cast on election day. What is next is the bulk of the votes that occurred for this election. You heard me say in the primary that lots of stuff were records. This is a record on all accounts with in-person voting, mail voting, and also Uocava. So for in-person, we ran more sites than we've ever run before. We had 15,119 voters come through our doors. 1,181 of those are provisionals. So by Friday on the 6th, we had counted 13,933 in, by the 3rd, we had counted 13,933 ballots. We had 31,988 ballots requested. We received back 30,012. We have 132 that were provisional. So by the 6th, we had counted 29,880, which means we, the vote total that we have has 43,818 advanced ballots. And to give you a frame of reference, that's a 94% return rate. Any questions on advance? All right, provisionals. So you're aware there are a total of 2,475 provisionals that we worked. Also one of the highest number of provisionals that we have worked ever. There are, for change of address, fully count, 488. Change of name, fully count, 18. Poll worker or clerical error, 65. If you remember those, you know, maybe we mistakenly put them in the wrong precinct. Couldn't be found on election day, but there was just a name misspelling, something like that. Usually change of address is our largest number of to count provisionals. This is advanced ballot not returned, 1,165. We, just to give you an explanation of that, there was a lot of stuff on the internet which was telling people not to vote their advanced ballot, and we got hit before election day with quite a number of people who wanted to vote in person and did not want to vote their advanced ballot. Those were provisional because they got sent a ballot and we needed to make sure that we did not receive a second ballot from them. 11 people brought in their ID after they voted without an ID, so we verified their ID. 140 were partial change of address, so they not only had a change of address, but they voted in another precinct, so it wasn't their correct precinct on top of that. 6, we were able to verify their signatures, so their signature didn't match. We reached out to them and were able to verify their identity. 44 were in the wrong precinct and they were a full count. 50 were in the wrong precinct and that was a partial count, and I'm pretty sure that most of that happened at Arterra. That gives us 1,987 to count. We have 488 that we are recommending not to count. 204 are not registered in Douglas County. Many of them, when they voted their provisional, told us they were registered in another state. 15, we were not able to get their ID. We did reach out to them. We did not receive ID before 9 a.m. this morning. 26 are people who also their advance have been returned. And to explain that, for a lot of people, they got really anxious because they didn't know if we were going to receive it. So we tell them, go ahead and vote provisional. If we do receive it in the mail, we'll count it. And so that is not, I want to be clear, that's not where people were trying to vote twice. 196 were individuals that were registered in other counties, and under Kansas law, they cannot, their provisional cannot be counted even though they are registered in the state of Kansas. They're just in a different county. 28 told us that they had moved to another county, and under Kansas law, they needed to vote in the county that they should be living. 5, we were not able to verify identity. 3, we really, because of the high numbers of return, oh, and I was going to point that out. If you look at 11,165 advance not returned, if you add that to our return advance, that means 97% of the people who requested an advance ballot voted in some way or another. And that is a remarkable statistic. We really did not receive that much mail after Election Day. I think all of the discussions about, mail it early worked. So we received 3 with no postmark after, before 11/6. We received 1 with a postmark after 11/3, but before 11/6. And I want to take this moment to talk about, we worked really closely with the post office, and I can tell you our local post office did everything they could to make sure that things were postmarked, received. They made it their mission, all of them, to get us our ballots and make sure they were postmarked, and we are very appreciative of that. We have 10 with no advanced signature. I think also the news kind of helped us out, that kind of highlighted, if it's not signed, it won't count. So that number is actually much lower than it usually is. So we have 488 that we are recommending not to count. So that's 242,475 total provisional ballots, 1,987 to count, 488 not to count. Questions on provisionals? We do need a motion and a vote on provisionals.
So I'll make a motion to accept the provisional ballots as outlined.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, passes 3-0.
The last part is write-ins. There were, no one was elected through write-ins, so there's nothing to be accepted there. I do want to point out there were 3 races where we knew there was an organized write-in campaign. For President, Hawkins and Walker received 59 write-in votes. In Rep District 42, Jim Carlskent had 95 votes, 95 write-in votes. And in State Board of Education number 4, Josh Harris had 61 write-in votes. Those were the races that we knew there were active write-ins. As I mentioned, the provisional should not impact any race. So when we adjourn, it can be contingent upon, if something were to come up, but I don't see anything that would change that. Do you have any questions, commissioners?
I don't have any, Jamie.
No.
I don't have any.
Okay. If I can take a moment, this was the largest election we've ever run in the middle of a pandemic. And I want to touch on a couple of things. Our community was incredible. We had more than 400 people than we could use for elections and for poll workers. We used over 500 poll workers, and we still had 400 applications of people we couldn't use. We had whole offices that were calling us saying, we'll take the day off to help you run this election. We had businesses that stepped up to help us in ways that in the last minute, we said, we need these supplies. And they said, no problem, we'll get them to you in the next few hours. Our polling places, a lot of them had to make decisions based off the pandemic, and we had to talk to them about how we were doing mitigation. And for those 43 polling places, it means so much that they did that for us. KU stepped up with the Lead Center, not only for advance, but also for election day. And we had to work with them to make sure that we kind of met their mitigation policies. The golf course superintendent's building, they decided at the last minute to let us vote in advance in West and in the west part of town. We are so appreciative of everything they did. The Douglas County staff, the maintenance crew did amazing things for us as we kept adding stuff that we were going to deliver. Our South Iowa location, using the Flory building, we know that that had an impact on operations at the fairgrounds, but that was huge for the east side of Lawrence, and so we appreciate that. And I say this, we couldn't do this without the commissioners who have supported us with our budget to make sure that we weren't one of those counties that really struggled how to make this happen because of our budget. Our staff did an amazing job. And I know that they came to work scared at times. I know that they put in amazing hours. Man, this has been a long election. And then, I mentioned Heather. One of the things that we did was that we made a plan that she and I separated. And so she operated out of South Iowa and I operated out of the courthouse. And the idea was that if one of us got sick, the other one could run the election. So we divided our operations. That was not easy. As we tried to run an election, the two of us, basically by phone calls and email, but it worked. And then, the other one that we don't talk about a lot are our families who were dealing with, the stress of this pandemic while we were gone. So, I just wanted to touch on that. This is while this is the hardest election we've ever run, this is the most incredible election we've ever run. We've never seen that kind of support before. So, okay, that's it. That's my part.
Jamie, thank you so much. I mean, we all recognize what you and your staff and your volunteers had to pull off, and it is nothing. It is remarkable. I mean, it is just remarkable. You were so flexible, worked so hard, and I know this county has just tremendous confidence in our election process thanks to your work. And to know that you did it during a pandemic is just, it's one of those stories that when this is all over, we'll talk about how amazing that work was and what you accomplished. So from me, thank you very, very much. Really appreciate all your tremendous work.
Those of us that run elections across the country say that we'll have lots of stories someday that we'll hopefully share in person.
Well, Jamie, thank you very much to you and your staff, and thanks for filling us in on the community. So thank you to our community, whether it's the voters and their turnout or the volunteers, the businesses. I mean, it's really great to live in a community like this, and I hope that now that at least we're wrapping things up, it'd be great to hear positive, successful stories about what a wonderful job you guys did, and kind of not focus on some of the negative that's flying around nationally and making media attention. We need these positive experiences to make the news. And I really can't tell you how proud I am of the job that you guys do. So thank you.
And I would just echo what the other commissioners have said, but to also say, I don't think any one of us ever doubted that you could do this, the primary and the general elections flawlessly, because that's what you do. And I think the overwhelming response of volunteers is remarkable, but it's also a credit to your office, and people want to work with you, and people wanted to be part of this kind of historic moment. And my hope is that all of those people who now have a heightened civic sense of what it takes to run an election and be part of it, that they'll come back after the pandemic and be just as willing to help. And I don't know if you've found ways that have streamlined things, but it seems like grouping up the precincts, that I don't know if that's your preferred way or not, but it seems like it worked. And just hats off to you. And I hope your families can, are seeing more of you, and that things are, back a little bit more back to normal in this kind of abnormal times. Thank you so much, Jamie, and all of your staff.
Well, I will tell you, you may not have thought that we would pull it up. I mean, that we didn't have any doubts. We had doubts. We had a number of days where we were like, there's no way this is going to work. We're not going to make this happen. I'm really excited. We had a number of our new poll workers that have contacted us and said, I'm hooked. That was fun. So that is good. And the other part about the community is that they did embrace advance voting. The combined polling places wouldn't have worked if everybody voted on election day. Kansas has passed a vote center law that goes into effect next year. And I think as a community, we can talk about what that looks like. So Arterra would be a good example. If that was a vote center, anybody could vote there and it wouldn't be provisional. There's some logistics to that, but I think that's, in the early part of next year, we'll kind of have that conversation. Okay. If there's nothing else, then you'll do a motion to adjourn pending if we were to call you back.
So I will make that motion. We don't usually do a motion to adjourn, but in this case, because we need to do it because we may be called back to review further results. I guess that would be right, Jamie. Would that be fair to say? I'll make that motion now.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Passes 3-0. Thank you, Jamie. Great job. Great job to your staff and great job to our community. This is something to celebrate for sure.
Thank you, Commissioner.
With that, pending no other business, we are adjourned.